All right. Hello. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 3 of oops, let me turn that down right there. Okay. All right. Episode number 3 of Sloppy Sunday. Slight technical difficulty out of the gate, but that's all right. I'm your host, Chris, from the Depeche Commode channel, and I'm wearing a bathrobe tonight because I figured what would complement a sloppy Sunday better than just laying around the house in a bathrobe all day? You know? And bathrobes have there's sort of this mystique about bathrobes. Have you ever noticed that, you go to a fancy hotel and then there's something about the linen bathrobe that's included with the hotel room? And yeah, you're paying like 3,000% of cost for the bathrobe, but there's still something about it. Like you go to a Four Seasons and you check in, there are the chocolates on the pillow. You first thing you do, then you go into the bathroom and there they have the little soaps, the towels, and then the bathrobe, and then maybe some little slippers too. But there's always something about like the bathrobe because it's one of those articles of clothing that you could either just be a disgusting slob in a bathrobe, or you could have just got done in an orgy, or like you're a porn star just waiting for your turn to get up and perform. There's just something about the bathrobe. But yeah, so anyways, enough with the bathrobes. Today's theme too. I Earlier this week, I've reached the breaking point with a certain type of person. And it's this type of person who, when I see them out in public, I get angry. I think I have negative thoughts. You know how in corporate America there's this unconscious bias training that we go through, and like my unconscious bias is judging that person, and just horrible, horrible, mean thoughts are racing through my head. And that's people who wear pajama bottoms in public. I This week I reached the breaking point because I went to there's this little grocery store, corner store right around, right a block down from where I live. And I go there, and there is a entire family, not the entire family, but it's a mother and her two daughters, and all three of them were wearing pajama pants or pajama bottoms out in public. And probably about a week before that, I was at Panera, and I go in, and there's this guy wearing Christmas pajama bottoms out in public with a leather jacket. It was the biggest disaster that I've ever seen, of wearing Christmas pajama bottoms in March out in public with a leather jacket. Just try to, think about that for a second. And it's something that I've always sort of cringe whenever I see this type of person out there, and I just sort of just being inundated by 4 people just within like a week time who are out wearing pajama bottoms out in public. I'm like, that is so disgusting, because pajama bottoms are probably the most vile, disgusting article of clothing that anyone can wear. It's because, first of all, most people who wear their pajama bottoms wear the same pair throughout the week. Or, well, they definitely wear it for more than one night. It's you get up in the morning, you take them off, they're laying on the floor, then end of the night, you pick them back up, put them back on, and go to sleep. I don't know a single person who has a different pair of pajama bottoms for every night of the week. You end up wearing the same ones over and over, which is absolutely disgusting, because then it's just compounded full of stale farts from all throughout the night. Trust me, I know everyone around 4 in the morning, it seems like, there's just this onslaught of sleep farting that goes on. Can you imagine just taking a black light to a pair of pajama bottoms and just what you would see? It would just be absolutely disgusting. But then the thought that people are just wearing these out in public, with some Christmas theme on it, like Garfield Christmas pajama bottoms in late March, wearing them out, probably not even wearing underwear underneath those, just free balling it. Oh, so disgusting. But yeah, I don't know. I there should be some sort of city ordinance or like laws in place against this because I think it could be considered indecent exposure. Going out in public wearing pajama bottoms, it's inappropriate. It really is. It's gross. It's disgusting. And something about it just reminds me of being in college and going to Walmart at 3 in the morning in slippers and your pajama bottoms and a hoodie and, just being just filthy, but you're young and stupid. But when you're an adult in your 40s, that says something about you. But yeah, anyways, just had to get that off of my chest. I not a fan of those people. Anyways, yeah, I was at Panera and because I usually during the week when I go to work, I like to make a pit stop. And usually I go to Panera to, I have their Sip Club membership, so I'll get like an iced tea. I don't drink coffee. I'm an iced tea drinker, and that's something that we'll get into in another time because trust me, it's a very long story. A lot of people can't figure it out. I've never drank a cup of coffee in my life, but I drink black iced tea like it's a lifeline for my existence. I really do. And but I went to Panera in the morning on my way to work. I like to make the pit stop, and I'm standing up in line waiting to pay. And there's no cashier, and I'm looking around the corner, and then suddenly I see a Panera employee exiting the bathroom and, coming but it was also the thing too where she was exiting the bathroom while the toilet was flushing, and you could tell that there was probably a sizable amount of mass in the toilet that would because it just made that, like, type of sound when it's trying to suck it all down the drain, which also I suspect means she didn't wash her hands. And then so she comes around back to the counter to take my order, but then she's doing the thing where, after you take, like, a massive dump and your pants are feeling looser, so you're pulling your pants up by the waist. She's doing that right as she's taking my order, like, that is so disgusting. And, I mean, seriously, it's ugh, God, it was gross. I mean, she totally has that, like, just, sigh of relief type of look on her face, and yeah, so I was just bleh, totally disgusted by all of that. Anyways, what do we have going on today? So today is Easter. Yesterday, I went out to lunch with a buddy of mine, and he's one of those type of people who's well-adjusted, you know, um, has a great career, does well, family man, has kids, a wife, a house in the suburbs, just totally, one of those type of people. And he was telling me about how for Easter, he's paying a service to come out and hide Easter eggs for his kids to find. And I was thinking about that nothing really says like you've made it than paying people to come out and hide Easter eggs for you. I mean, that's one of those luxury purchases that you can't even spend 15 minutes of your own time just going around just throwing them in a bush somewhere. It's like, let's just pay this person to come out and do it for us. And then he was telling me about the perks about it because he's like, oh yeah, they put the jelly beans in the egg, and some of them they'll put chocolates in, and maybe some pennies or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah, and yeah, but so that is about yeah, Easter. I did absolutely nothing today for Easter. Didn't go out to dinner. Don't have any family really in the area. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a religious person. I still don't even really know what the purpose of Easter is. I know it has something to do with religion. I've had zero religion in my life, so people kind of explain it to me. Like I think today is the day when Jesus died, right? And then Christmas is the day when he was born. I think that's how the story goes. Um, yeah, I've had zero religion in my life. My parents, not religious, not atheists, but just zero religion ever, forever, nothing. I mean, I've been to a couple bar mitzvahs. I went to a Roman Catholic wedding. I remember that was crazy, all the kneeling and standing and all of that. And I've never read the Bible. I don't know what a New Testament is or an Old Testament. None of it makes any sense to me. Um, but yeah, Easter, I know it's a good day to eat some ham. Maybe I think ham is the big thing. So yeah, I like some ham. Didn't have any of that today. So yeah, I had a leftover burrito, and then I went to Whole Foods and I got I got like this like chicken dish from their hot bar, which it's crazy how inflation has impacted the cost of Whole Foods hot bar. Because I was putting chicken, rice, and then some pasta salad before I know it, it's $18. Like, what the hell? And especially the hot bar too, where you have these entrees that are sitting under heat lamps for who knows how long, and they're dry and crusty and just stuff. It's ugh. Anyways, they have good mac and cheese though. I do like their mac and cheese a lot. Yeah, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is one of those. It's one of those type of meals where I'll buy a box. I'll make a box of creamy mac and cheese, and I eat the entire box myself, and then I look at the serving suggestions, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be 3.5 servings per box, you fat ass." And, I was it's just I was like, "Oh, really? I keep forgetting that you're not supposed to eat the entire box in one sitting," but I still managed to do that somehow, and, what do we have here? Okay, so Wilson is in the chat. Wilson, good to see you. I had ramen today at a Japanese restaurant, and that was good. Yeah, ramen is good. Ramen is ramen is one of those foods where it's crazy how you could buy that packet of ramen. I remember in the grocery store, there was the quick ramen, and it was seriously like 35 cents. I mean, it was bananas, like a banana costs more than a packet of ramen. And even though the ramen that you get in the store was, 800 milligrams of sodium and carbs, there's no nutritional value to it at all. But, we would get creative with, eating the ramen dry as like a snack. But real ramen is good stuff. So, Wilson, hope you enjoyed your ramen. And what is it? What's he got here? Mr. Noodles is the ultra cheap instant noodles, but not my thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the the stuff that comes in the cup. I think that's Mr. Noodles. I was used to the stuff that came in the square or the rectangle package. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't eaten ramen in years, but I'm pretty sure that this was the stuff that I used to eat. I liked how, you know, the seasoning packet, would say that it was, seafood flavor or chicken flavor, like some sort of flavor. What do we have going on here? So, some news for the channel. We have an exciting deep dive coming up that I'm pumped about, and Wilson will be part of that deep dive, and it's a bolt thrower deep dive that we're going to be doing. So that should be pretty fun. I think it's a bolt thrower deep dive to be easier to digest because you're not going through like a catalog of like 28 albums and ranking all of them. It's still, a decent like the catalog. There's a good amount of material there, but they didn't overwhelm you or burden you with too much material. I think it's just the right amount. Um, so yeah, I think we're going to be doing that on the 29th for that. Um, for the bolt thrower deep dive. That should be a good time. Yeah, yeah. But I've been listening to a lot of bolt thrower this week, so that's when I started thinking about, you know what? I think it's time. It is time for the bolt thrower deep dive. Um, and what do we have here? Anyways, got a few people in the chat who are watching. Thank you for showing up. I think tonight I don't really have. I was digging through my records and I was looking for this. I've had this for ages, and this is Wilson. Maybe you might have some more information about this. This is a NEMS pressing of the first Black Sabbath album, Gatefold, and it has the extra track on it, "Evil Woman." Don't play your games with me. I don't know what this is considered to be. If it's, I mean, it's definitely old. I want to say that this is from 1972. I just don't know how the NEMS pressings, if they're held in high regard for being good quality, because they're not. It's the Vertigo pressing, the ones that you want for the Sabbath stuff. I didn't know about the dance pressing, but if it still has the extra song on it that was later, uh, removed from the album for copyright reasons, then, I wanna say that once I heard that the Metalworks used for this, that these were the same stampers used, for the Vertigo pressings, maybe? I'm not sure what I've had this for ages, and I've listened to it once, So I'm about to give it the ultrasonic treatment and give it a listen. I just don't have anything else to compare it to because I don't have anything else to say that. Oh yeah, this sounds better than that other one. And then I've had this one for ages too. Everyone remembers the Garage Days EP with the sticker that says 598 EP, do not pay more. Try telling me at the records about that. But it still has the original price tags on it. Um, I always really liked this album, and I think nowadays because I've heard Metallica so much that I just don't even really enjoy listening to them. I could still listen to "Injustice for All." I have the 4 LP box set that came out, I think, maybe in 2012, and, once every 3 years, we'll give that a spin. It's a good one. Master of Puppets is another one that, Ride the Lightning every 3 years or so, I'll listen to it, but this is the one that sometimes out of the early lineup, people just seem to just never mention with early Metallica, even though it is just all covers, it's no original content, but it's a fun listen, it is. I really like this one. I'll probably give that a listen this week. Um, so the about the NIMS UK pressing, but it doesn't appear to share the vertical initial press. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the story is about the NEMS pressings. Um, I just figured that since it has the extra song on it, in the whole production or manufacturing cycle, at what point was Evil Woman removed from the album? Um, the Killing Joke cover rules. Yeah, the weight. That also too, I have the first Killing Joke album, and that's a really good album. Uh, but yeah, The Weight is a really good song. Early Killing Joke is good stuff. I haven't listened to them in years, but, um, should. I always keep saying this, that, "Oh, yeah, I need to listen to more of this, more of that," but then it's like, I think this past week I listened to, one playlist out of my entire library just in my car. I just haven't found the time to listen to much music besides Bolt Thrower. Uh, it's yeah. All right. Okay. But yeah, that is that. I also got heroin. I just saw that. If anybody remembers heroin, this was San Diego, really early, probably early screamo or San Diego like hardcore. I want to say that the guy who started heroin maybe was the one who started Gravity Records. I can't really remember. Maybe it was Gravity was started by the dude from the VSS. I can't remember, but this album, this is a pretty important hardcore album, and I just dug it out of my collection today, and I just happened to notice that I believe Southern Lord is doing a reissue of that of this album, um, which should be cool. I don't know anything if they're going to add some extra tracks to it or anything like that. But Lord, they do some quality reissues. So um, should be interesting to see what and Southern Lords never really, to the best of my knowledge, they've never really put any much or anything out that's like this. Um, because there were, like bands like when you think about early Gravity, Angel Hair, um, is another band, and of course, the VSS. That style of music. I can't recall Southern Lord, you know, doing anything like this. So maybe they're trying to, diversify their catalog a little more or something, but that should be pretty good. Um, yeah, shout out to San Diego. That's what I'm saying, man. Nice weather down there too. So something about punk bands just coming from like perfect climate. I just can't imagine. And I've been this to San Diego before. It's been a long time, but I heard, it just seems like just like a really nice climate all year round. More affluent uh population there. It just seems like an odd setting for uh, a vicious underground punk scene, but maybe that's what it takes. Because like the Locust, another band that I really liked for a long time, saw them a few times. Again, part of that whole San Diego. Um, the fashion for the time was like, the white belt type of with the turkey hair type of hair. And then see, my thing too is because that was that was punk. I was always too fat to be part of that scene. Because everyone is like, it was like you had to be 6'3", 85 pounds, and wear a youth large T-shirt with a white belt. Um, to be part of the San Diego screamo scene, but a lot of great music came from that area. And my buddy used to play with the Locust. Oh, Justin Pearson. Okay, yeah, Justin Pearson. He's done some other stuff. Like he's in that band with Dave Lombardo, um, Dead Cross. I don't know. Dead Cross is Mike Patton does the vocals in Dead Cross. And then what else was it? But then yeah, Justin Pearson is the bassist, Lombardo on drums, and then who is it on guitar? Dead Cross. I like what okay, Gabe Serbian, that's right, because Gabe died recently, but I think there was a Dead Cross. Um I think they put out one song with Gabe Serbian on drums. Like I remember there being a really early Dead Cross song that was like a demo that was leaked, and I believe Gabe was playing drums on that one. Um, and Def Club. Okay, yeah. I mean, Justin Pearson. He's over the years. I mean, he's one of those guys who's just been in so many so many bands. Um, because what else was he in? It was always cool seeing the Locust playing live because when they started to wear like the uniforms, like they would have the thing. I saw them really early on when they were just um, skinny kids just wearing youth large T-shirts and stuff, but then they started to adopt sort of that Locust type of uniform that we're familiar with nowadays, and um, that was good stuff. Just total like when I heard the Locust for the first time, it was the synthesizers and stuff that just really I had never heard anything that Well, I mean, I had heard Melt Banana, and there were bands like that, but the Locust had a different sound because it was like grindcore mixed with crazy synthesizers, and at the time I just never really heard much of anything like that. Um yeah, let's see what Justin Pearson bands has Justin Pearson been in. Melt met John at the Melt Banana show late last year. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Swing Kids, that's right. The Swing Kids. That was Swing Kids. I have that discography album that they put out, The Locust, of course. Some Girls, that was another band. Retox. I have, I think, two Retox albums. Um Swing Kids, yeah, that was good. Retox, other ones. Holy Molar, yeah, I have one Holy Molar CD. I remember they gave it to me free when I placed an order with from 31G, and they threw it in for free, and it came in like, I think it was that weird sort of like jewel case that's like a DVD audio or super audio CD jewel case, one of those square ones. It came in that. Yeah, Head Wound City. Um, do, do, do. So yeah, Justin Pearson. He's been around. Absolutely. Now let me see here. What Southern Lord? Oops, wrong window. I want to check something here. Doesn't seem like Southern Lords really put out a whole lot of stuff lately. I don't know. I like the label, which is yeah, okay. They put out the Thor's Hammer, which I think was maybe the first album that they did. One thing that I like from one of Stephen O'Malley's projects is Burning Witch. I have the box set. Uh, it's I forget how many LPs it is. Maybe it's three, and then it's also a DVD with Edgy 59. I liked Burning Witch a lot. I also have the two CD set that they put out, and then there is a CD out there that is of, oh, you know what? I think I probably have that right around here. No, that's Harvey Milk. Where is it? Okay, yeah. Well, this is one of those. This is the Goat Snake Burning Witch split. This is really good. And then there's the two CD set that Southern Lord put out of Burning Witch stuff. I want to say probably around 2008 or so. I have that as well. Wish I knew where that was at. But yeah, I really like the Burning Witch stuff. Edgy 50, I'm sorry, Edgy 59, the vocalist, never really knew what. Doesn't seem like he ever really did much after Burning Witch. I'm wondering if maybe there was a bit of a. I kind of got the impression that maybe there was a little bit of a dependency there that maybe got in the way. Some of the vocals in Thor's Hammer. Okay, all right, yeah. Thor's Hammer. I think Thor's Hammer was the first Southern Lord release that they put out. I think. One that I have, another really early Southern Lord release that I have is uh, War Horse as Heaven Turns to Rust. I have the OG vinyl and the CD. And the thing about that album that always bothered me is it's one of the worst sounding recordings that I've ever heard. It sounds so compressed, and it sounds compressed to the point where um like MP3 compression. I mean, it sounds like they took like a low bit rate MP3 as for the master and used that, where how MP3 compression, the first thing that I can really hear it on is like cymbals, like cymbal crashes is where, the compression really starts to really affect the sound quality. That Warhorse album, it's a great album, but it sounds terrible. It is just an awful sounding album. I know that they reissued it a while back. I never heard the remaster. I hope that they did something to it because the original just sounds so bad. Um, let's see here. The vocal story has a PhD and part of a biotech company is one of the board. All right, so well, good for because I think Thor's hammer. I think it was a she who I think it was a woman who was the vocalist for Thor's hammer. Yeah, I do have a cough. It's really bothering me. Allergies. It's allergy season now. What's up, Jason? Jason, welcome back from New Orleans, by the way. Let's see here. Yeah, Jason was down in New Orleans. Looked like you got some good records down there. You know what's crazy, and I have this problem too. I'm one of the most boring people to take on vacation because when I go on vacation somewhere, I end up just doing the same things that I do if I was at home, where I just lay around, okay, go record shopping. I could go to Miami Beach somewhere. What do? I'll sit in the hotel room, then I'll just go record shopping. Or I could go to Europe. What would I do? Probably just lay around the hotel room, sit at the bar, then go record shopping. I suck at vacations. Um, a lot of times I feel like I might as well just stay at home and save the money because then that's just more money that I could spend on records. It's kind of like I started watching on YouTube, these city walk videos, like they're, 4K, 90 minutes of just strolling around a city somewhere. And I started watching a lot of those, and I really like some of them. I was watching one on New York and just kind of like going through from when I lived in New York, like, oh yeah, I remember that place. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that subway stop. But then I was watching other ones of like the city walk through Monaco and through these like villages and these paradise Italian villages and these stuff like that, and I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what, after watching a 90-minute city walk through Luxembourg or something like that, I feel like I could just cross that off of my to-do list now. Like I don't need to bother traveling there because the 90-minute 4K YouTube city walk video of it pretty much covered all the territory for me. It's sure, maybe you don't experience any of the food or something, but I have low standards when it comes to food. If I and I'm so boring at traveling, if I went there, I'd probably just eat at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or something if they have them there. Um, but yeah, those are fun videos to watch. Was Portugal with a bunch of people together, which was quite fun. Yeah, you know what? If I was there with you, I would be like the wet towel, the guy who's not fun, because all I would do is just sit in the hotel room, sit at the bar, and then I'd go record shopping. Yeah, or I'd go eat, yeah, and then I'd sit at the bar, and then I'd go record shopping. That's what I would do. Um, Record shopping is the best part. Yeah, and you know what? I was raised in a family like that too. My mother is a prime example of that. Like when I was a kid, we never went camping, we never went hiking. We never did anything like that. We would just go somewhere where there's a hotel, and then with my mother, she would just go shopping at like, oh, there's an outlet mall. Go shopping. Well, you could do that when you're at home. So it's kind of like I it's one of those things that I got from my mother, I guess, of just being a boring vacation person where all I do is just sit at the bar, eat, and go shopping when I'm there. Okay, let's see here. Fit some time for souvenir and record shopping. Of course. Yeah. If her visa ran out. Oh, you're the vocal. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, the vocalist was of Thor's Hammer. Yeah, yeah, her visa ran out. I guess I don't know. Well, you know what? It sounds like going back here through Wilson's comment here about the vocalist from Thor's Hammer. She's apparently a pretty smart person, but then she lets her visa run out. How does that happen? People like that are the ones who always pay their bills on time. They pay their bills early, not on time. They pay their bills early, but somehow her visa runs out. I don't get it. You know, Walking is nice if it's not too hot. Yeah, you know what? I I hate summertime. I do. I hate summertime. I do not adjust well to summer because I hate sweating. I hate just, heat. I wanna live somewhere where in the summer, it reaches, like, maybe 65 the most. I don't like summertime. If I could live somewhere where it was just spring right into fall and then winter, I'd be perfectly happy with that because I just do not like summertime at all. It's just such a blah type of season. Malia, hello. Good to see you there. And, what do we have here? Hey, Malia, didn't you just win, like, an auction, like a record in an auction from Patrick? You got that Hawkwind album, which is an awesome album, by the way. I have, um where is it? Oh, shoot. I need to organize my music. I have the old school CD that came in. Remember when double CD sets back in the day, they came in those big jewel cases? I have one of that album. I think maybe One Way was the label that put that out, but, yeah, that's a really great Hawkwind album. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? Patrick's a pretty nice guy. Wish he would give me some records. Another one too that I like by Hawkwind a lot is Warrior on the Edge of something or other. I can't remember because 'cause it's been a while since I've listened. Um, I know where. Yeah, it's under. Where is it? Yeah, I know where it's at, and it's not easy to get to right now. I should really do a better job of planning ahead of time. I I think to myself like, "Ah, I'll just freestyle," but I'm like, no, you're there. I need to plan some stuff. Yes, Patrick, the vinyl archivist. Um, Patrick, who also I think of Patrick as my record cleaning mentor. Um, the he's the one who I look up to for record cleaning advice. I remember in, the VC in the Rachel's Ghost channel, there was that whole debate about record cleaning, and I was on team Patrick the entire time. I'm like, "Yes, we need surfactants and Tergiclean," and I bought a Humming Guru by Patrick's recommendations and stuff. So I'm team Patrick all the way there. Um, team Patrick. All right, we got 7 people watching. Thank you for tuning in and watching me complain and rant. Um, what was I going through? Okay. Is that it? No, that's not it. Shit. Oh, well. Maybe next time I'll go through it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Nitty gritty. I don't know what the nitty gritty. Oh, is the nitty gritty an ultrasonic cleaner? I mean, I'm happy with my Humming Guru. The thing about the Humming Guru is I don't know if it's unique to that or if it's just all ultrasonic record cleaning machines, but the sound of it makes my cat go crazy. My cat starts running around, like, I think it probably sounds like a mouse or something. So, I need to set the Humming Guru up in my bathroom and clean the records in my bathroom. That way my cat doesn't knock it over or get in trouble with it because he thinks that it's a mouse somewhere. Um, yeah, and also it's kinda yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a little bit about ultrasonic cleaning and how the effects that it could have on pets, because I think with dogs too, that just the frequencies that are used in ultrasonic cleaning, that maybe that frequency could affect dogs in a negative way, possibly, I don't know. Um, yeah, Patrick yeah, Patrick, I'm a fan of Patrick's channel. There are some people in the vinyl community I'm getting really tired of, like, um, but I always like to watch Patrick's show. There are a couple people who I'm just tired of seeing them. I'm trying to break myself of the habit of just watching record collecting YouTube channels because it's becoming this thing now where it's like, "Oh, time to watch this one person," and all that, and then it just ends up getting into, like, this whole argument about politics and all this crap, and I'm just like, "Oh god," and then some of the people just complain nonstop. Nitty-gritty is a vacuum based. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh god, there is so much drama, I swear. I think one of the worst people is Waxed. He's just so fucking obnoxious. It's just like all he wants to do is just start argue fights with people now. I don't know. He used to be an enjoyable person to watch. He had a good sense of humor, and then now he's just become bitter and just needs to start a fight with everyone. And he's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna call you out on your shit." Oh, really? What do you go into work and talk to people that way? Like God. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there yeah, yeah, I know. It's interesting because it's you know, there is a lot of there is way too much politics and stuff in some of these shows now. I don't know why, but it's, normal people, I guess, talking about normal people things. I need to cut back on yeah, I need to scale back my subscriptions too, because I'm just tired of just some of the some of the personalities are just really getting on my nerves. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. 7 people watching. I was going through, um, when I lived in New York, and this was kind of like the topic last week that I was gonna talk about shady people that I've during my time, and it's like when you're doing comedy, it when you wanna talk about bloated resumes and, uh, padding your resume, you will never find a more bloated, padded resume than you will of a desperate performer trying to get recognition. And I'm guilty of it myself too. Like you would see like, a comedian who's an absolute nobody, but then it's like, just because they used the same urinal after a headliner, then now suddenly that's considered, like something to add to their comedy history and all of that. But um, uh, he didn't believe I was 5'7". It got annoying, making remarks like, Malia, I've never thought about your height at all. Yeah, if you're 5'7", then all right. I'm not going to argue that at all. I'm I'm 6'10" and a half. I'm I like to add that half an inch right there because I don't know. At some point, I was or at some point, I was 5'11", but then I guess I shrunk a half an inch. Maybe it's my posture from sitting in a chair all the time. Um, but yeah, yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, I there was this person. I've met some shady people, and one thing that I've always thought was really shady is when a grown man and an adult goes by a nickname. And I met this guy, and his name was Skim Milk. And for like 4 months, he was around. There comes a point when it's like, okay, you must be hiding something. You don't want anyone to know your real name because you're running from something or something like that. I don't know. But he was working at this one club, and his name was Skim Milk, and you had to call him Skim Milk, and that's I never even knew his real name. He was only there for, like, 4 months or so, but it got kind of annoying because then it's, like, simple, like, human just simple conversation of a question, like, "Oh, hey, can I get back there to use the bathroom?" Skim, "Hey, Skim Milk, can I use the bathroom over there?" Like, simple things like that was really annoying. Um But, yeah, I met this there was this one comedy producer who I worked, I didn't work for him, but I knew him, and he was committing fraud, Social Security fraud, because what he was doing was and there's a lot of also too, comedians too, there's a lot of fraud. A lot of people who, work in the system or whatever, and he had this issue. I forget if it was with his back or, something like that, where he supposedly couldn't walk or he couldn't walk well, so somehow he qualified for Social Security and, you know, got disability payments and, food stamps and all of that. Um, but what's weird is he could walk around Manhattan 6 days a week. going to comedy clubs and doing shows. So he could walk, around Manhattan all day, 6 days a week, but when it came time to renew his claim, because he would need to get a checkup from a doctor and then go to, some administration office to, renew his claim, then that's when, oh, the cane came out, like, oh, the pain, the misery, oh, all, just in that time frame, but then still could walk around, the city 6 days a week doing shows. It was interesting stuff. Yeah. What do we have here? All right. Okay. I think I'm what was it? Yeah, this was something too that I was thinking about. This 2022 was an interesting year for me because it was the first time that I ever bought a mom candle. And let me tell you give you a little bit of background about the mom candle. So I was at Target and I was buying some things. It was right around, early December or so, right around Thanksgiving or something. And I come across they have, the whole like a section of mom candles. And I was like, I could use some Christmas cheer. I've never bought one of these candles before. And I get it home and I start lighting it. And I'm like, I really like this. This is pretty cool. And so but now I still have about a third of the candle left that I haven't used, but I wanna light it again, but now it's like, okay, today it was 67 degrees outside. I feel like it's, a little bit of a controversy if I'm burning a Christmas candle in April, when it's almost 70 degrees outside. So I don't really know what to do with this. I think maybe I'll just throw it away. I guess maybe, you don't want too much of a good thing. I'll just wait till next year. But now I'm curious about the whole mom candle, the Yankee candle type of thing, because, I always remember them smelling pretty good. And they always look really good too. Kind of like, the Yankee candles with the dried fruit in them and stuff, and then or maybe you might have a vanilla and there's something about it where you just wanna, like, take a fork and slice it and eat it, but you can't because it's a candle, but it just smells so good. Um, but and then that's where I was thinking is, like, for a man version of that, I was thinking new car smell. Like, I would really like a scented candle like this but of something that is new car smell, 'cause I really like the new car smell a lot. I don't know, like, my car, I drive a Prius, it's paid off. Sort of my approach to car ownership and just automobiles in general is that I'm not a car guy. My favorite type of car is one that's paid off, which is what it is. Um, but so that's like 90% of the time. I just like a car that's easy to deal low maintenance, easy to deal with and paid off. 90% of the time, that's what I like. But then the remaining 10% of the time is when I start thinking like, "Oh, gee, man, that SUV looks pretty nice." Like, "Ooh, I could go for something with that new car smell," and I'm kind of going through that phase right now where I'm just dabbling with the idea of maybe buying a new car, and I'm like, "No," because then the record collector in me is thinking like, "Well, instead of making car payments, I could just put that towards records," you know? I think, but some new car smell. Why is it they don't make why is it that they don't make new car smell for, like, an air freshener for your house or something like that? I think that would be nice. Or, like, new car smell, um, men's deodorant, like Old Spice, instead of all of these, pine and, like, type of scents or, aquatic freshness or something. Just give me a new car smell deodorant or like a men's cologne. I think I would wear that. I don't wear cologne at all, but I would definitely wear some new car smell, cologne. Absolutely, I would put that on all the time. Um, is who else is there a local Yankee or something to buy scented types? Yeah, I've never really I didn't work in a mall, but I had a job, and long story short is I spent 3 years at a mall in North Carolina because I worked in a commercial photography studio, not a portrait studio, but a commercial photography studio, 70,000 square feet of, different photography bays and all of that, and, for catalogs for an e-commerce for a retailer, and but the thing is the photo studio was attached to a mall, so when I was at that job for 3 years, I was at a mall 5 days, which you got to see, like, sort of the decline of the mall, how malls are just dying, unfortunately, but, there's always it seems like every mall of the malls that are still surviving, it seems like there's always a Yankee Candle store inside of the mall, just like there's always a Bath& and Body Works, um, always one of those ones. And what else is there? There's always a Jimmy Z's, an urban clothing store, um, just fabulous looking, clothes that would just look wonderful on me. But, and then there's always those, like, cell phone kiosks, um, yeah, but and that's part of when I was working there too, because I'd go into the food court and I'd shoot the shit with all the people who worked at the food court. And before I know it, didn't even have to buy food because I'd walk down to the food court, and then, "Hey, Chris," the guy at Chick-fil-A would hook me up with whatever was sitting under the heat lamp for too long. Or I'd go to the Chinese place and, they'd hook me up with, some sweet and sour chicken or whatever. And, but then I realized how fat I was getting just because I got all of this free food from the food court. Like I didn't even need to pack a lunch anymore because I could just go down there and pretty much choose where I wanted to go, and they would hook me up because I just shoot the shit with everyone who worked at in the food court. And yeah, we all sort of became family for a little while there, but then yeah, then COVID hit, and yeah, that's what it was. I miss the days of, like, a mall, like a proper mall, because man, those were some good times. When we were kids, that was, like, the thing to do, like, on a Saturday, parents would drive us up to the mall, and then we were just some punks just hanging out at the mall. Malls nowadays are just not malls like what they used to be, because there used to be malls that, they would always have, the water fountain and the benches and all the fake trees and all of that and stuff. But when they had things like Woolworths and, a KB Toys, when they had an arcade, that was like a real mall. Like, if you wanna go back and see what, like, a real mall was back in the day, then Fast Times at Ridgemont High is the movie to watch. You can really get a feel for what a mall really used to be like. But then, at some point, malls just started to become, um, something like Williams-Sonoma, and where everything was too clean. There's a Williams-Sonoma, and then there's a Ralph Lauren store, and then there's and nothing about that was punk rock or grimy or something. Malls just became something that just was too geared. Maybe that was by design because they didn't want snotty kids like us hanging out at the malls anymore. So they're like, well, let's get rid of the arcade. That was the first thing to go. Get rid of the water fountain. Get rid of the KB toys, and let's put in a Williams Sonoma because we know that that will definitely keep the teenagers away the Williams-Sonoma, the Yankee Candle store. No teenagers are coming around here causing trouble, so get rid of the arcade, KB toys, and let's put, you know, put those storefronts in their place. But then malls, I think the real decline of the mall, well, besides e-commerce, but when outlet malls started to come around, because then at some point, outlet malls were just when outlet malls started, they were, like, where you would get irregular clothing or out of season stuff. Then like, where a seam wasn't stitched properly or, maybe something, had there was a tiny hole in something and you could get it at a significant discount. But then at some point then, outlet malls just became, uh, the cheaper end of a line of clothing, where it wasn't like you weren't getting irregular, uh, clothing or anything, you were just getting the cheaper version of a brand. Like J. Crew is one brand that I have this hatred for J. Crew. First of all, I'm just so over that whole, like, J. Crew look, like, you can immediately pick out like, for men, you can immediately pick out the J. Crew look on a guy. But then J. Crew, in their marketing branding strategy, thought that, "Oh, gee, everything in our stores needs to be a slim fit," because, I guess apparently they thought that only men who were 6'5", 190 pounds were the only people who bought J.Crew clothing, that, like, not like fat guys like me who just need some shirts for work, you know? We can't go in because a slim fit shirt just doesn't fit right on a dude like me because I'm not slim. And but yeah, anyways, where was I going about malls? And it all started with okay, it all started with yeah, the mom candle. Yeah, yeah, this it's Christmas cheer, but Christmas is over. Yeah, I wish I could live somewhere where it was like Christmas. Now, I'm not saying year round, but, at least maybe a good part of the year. I think that would be a lot of fun. That'd be enjoyable, especially that time when, between Christmas and New Year's when, like, you're off work, everyone's just hanging out, partying and drinking and stuff, but what did I mean by mom candle? You know what I mean by a mom candle is, something fancy like this, and this it has that a cinnamon type of potpourri scent to it, but it definitely smells very Christmassy. And today I was tempted to light it up and well, yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, I wanna burn this," but then I was thinking like, "Well, it is almost 70 degrees outside and it's April." Yeah, it's kind of like this is that weird time of year when people there's still, so there are the people who are like, "All right, it's 67 out," so they put on their shorts and T-shirt, and they're just like, "Yeah, nice weather," but then there are still the other people who are still holding on to their winter fashion because 'cause they're just not ready to let it go yet. These are so it's weird how you could see one person in shorts and a T-shirt, and then right beside that is a guy still in a down jacket, a knit hat, and a scarf. These are the same 2 people who, when fall hits, it's or not even fall, but just when it hits 60 degrees out, there's always that person who's too eager to wear their fall fashion. So, like, the moment it hits 60 degrees out, that's the person who's like, "Oh, got the cashmere pea coat on with the popped collar with the matching cashmere scarf and the knit hat and got the gloves on." They've just been waiting to wear their fall fashion for so long, and it's 60 degrees out. Meanwhile, right beside them is a person in shorts and a t-shirt. It's this is where there's that weird contrast between, the 2 personality types this time of year. So, yeah, let's where is that? You don't have a candle store in Canada? What? You don't have well, okay, so well, I guess Yankee Candle probably would be politically incorrect for Canadians, right? Because in Canada, you don't have Yankees. Here in the States, a Yankee was a Northerner, and then if I think that term goes back to the Civil War of, the Union versus the Confederates, and Yankees were considered Northerners. From what I remember from high school, um, but then in Canada, that would be crazy that you don't have candle stores there. That's insane. Um, yeah, yeah, you mean like a humming, guru? So, yeah, I could go for some I wouldn't mind some a turgid clean, scented cologne, like a record surfactant scented body spray or something, like when Axe body spray was the big thing that people were into. Like, all those scents were always terrible. They were awful, I was never into them. Like, I prefer body odor over, like, some of those Axe body sprays. Well, I mean, some body odor, not like the chili dog body odor. I could do without that. No, thank you. Um, Asking the real questions. Absolutely. Tough luck, by the way. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Um, Malls are around are attracting more boutique and luxury shops. Yeah, malls are dying. I worked for a retailer when I worked in e-commerce. It was for a brick and mortar retailer that is going down the toilet at just like an astonishing rate because they got into the whole e-commerce thing way too late. And um, so where was I going with that? Oh yeah, yeah. So, but malls are, in the 80s, they overbuilt malls. There were too many malls. Then once internet retail popped up, so people don't go to malls anymore like they used to. Some kids hang out at the mall still, but malls just aren't cool like they used to be, because then that's when malls started to get the Bath and Body Works and the Williams Sonomas and stuff like that, and, that's not cool to be a punk rock kid hanging out around Williams Sonoma. Give me a break. And especially you don't even see brick and mortar music stores anymore. A lot of times it was the music store that attracted people. FYE is a joke of a music store. It's not even about selling music anymore. Now it's just all about selling stupid toys, um, weird anime crap that they pay pennies on the dollar for. I mean, I worked at a music store in North Carolina that was owned by FYE, and I worked there for a summer, and, pretty much the reason why I worked there was so that way I got first dibs on all the used stuff that came in, and, so my entire paycheck just went back into the store, which I don't have a problem with that, and so but, yeah, malls are just dying because they built too many malls in the '80s, really. Too many malls, but then e-commerce started to people stopped going out to stores as much, and then COVID especially, I mean, that was the nail in the coffin for a lot of malls and brick and mortar retailers during COVID, but then Amazon, Walmart, and Target are, like, killing, uh, traditional big box retailers, um, and brick and mortar, uh, retail stores. So yeah, cool malls are a thing of the past. And what do we have here? What did mom candle? Yeah. You wanna talk about mom stuff. Okay, so this is when I was last night, I had a couple beers and Tecate. It's time for my summertime beer, and I was cleaning records, and, some people so how mom is this of me? So I have the mom candle, alright? But then last night, I started to clean my Barbara Streisand records 'cause anyone who knows me well enough knows that I have a thing for Barbara Streisand, and so I started to clean some of my Barbara Streisand records, just like I have a thing for, Engelbert Humperdinck, Paul Anka. I like a lot of these, vocalists that, well, I mean, Babs. I mean, Babs is legendary, but, I like a lot of the lounge singles or the balladeers of, like, the '60s, early '70s Vegas strip type of sound. I think that's really good music. Something about it is it's a great change of pace from normally listening to metal all the time or whatever, but then putting on Engelbert Humperdinck, um yeah, okay, yeah, Paula Anka, yeah, that's good stuff, and, uh but Barbara Streisand also has a special place in my heart. It's kind of like I've said this before, I feel like in a past life, I was an old Jewish woman from Long Island because I something about, like, when I worked in New York, the Yentas, whether they were a lot of them were from Long Island, but, there were Brooklyn Yentas from Queens, whatever. The Yentas and we always got along like that. They always these old Jewish women, they just have these really snarky personalities. They're really cool to joke around with. Um, and so that's why I think, like, in a past life, I was an old Jewish woman from Long Island. I like being that specific about it too, but, I mean, look at how fabulous Barbara looks right there. Can you just imagine my face on that? Um, I have plenty of more Babs in my collection that I'll show off on a future stream. Um, Anka and Dion, like Celine Dion? Um I'm a big Engelbert Humperdinck guy. I like Engelbert a lot too. I think that he had a great voice, but then also the way vocals were recorded back at that time. I mean, it's to sound just as good live as you did on record definitely, meant that there was talent there. Studio, effects, you know, playing with things in the studio just wasn't they couldn't just run anything through Pro Tools back in, the '60s and the '70s. Um, but yeah. There's also I have some Yiddish records too. Theodore Bickel is one that I like um, who was a traditional Yiddish folk singer. Um, but part of it is the way that it was recorded, things that were recorded on to a 3 track. Things like that where it was pretty much just room mics that were recording the music, it wasn't like this big, 64 IO, 64 channel console that everything was recorded into. A lot of times it was just room mics that were set up that were recording the music because it also, you know, the budget on a lot of that stuff was like nothing compared to, um, you know, recording budgets that major labels had, you know. Theodore Bickel, didn't have the recording budget that, that Engelbert had or that Led Zeppelin had or anything like that, it was like a shoestring budget, back in those days. Celine Dion are pretty common here, especially Quebec. Yeah, that's right. Isn't she French Canadian? I think her and her husband, I think they were, French Canadian. I yeah, okay, yeah. Well, one thing too about Barbara is because I like, the 3 tenors. I have some um, Pavarotti and, Placido, Domingo. The 3 tenors, like those guys. I'm not a huge opera guy. I'm pretty much fine with, the gold standard opera singers, but, Pavarotti especially. But there's this way that opera singers c the thing that they do with their throat when they're really holding a note when the and you can hear it when they can hold a note and they're just, like, singing. I'm not gonna try to do it now, but you hear that in Barbara too, where, you know, Barbara I don't know the whole background of, like, her training, musical training, but she sounds like she was probably, like, a trained opera singer who, became more of, like, kind of just like a pop singer or something, just, with her style of singing. It's interesting stuff. I'll go into Barbara on a future stream when I'm better prepared to flex my Barbara collections in front of the world. Anyways, yeah, Celine Dion. There are these T-shirts. If anyone ever saw these, I don't even know if they were real T-shirts, but they were like, um a Celine Dion T-shirt, but styled like it was a death metal shirt, and, there's another one that is a Barbara Streisand one that it looks like it's a death metal shirt, but it says Barbara Streisand, and then it's like a skull, and it's The Way We Were or something, but there's a Celine Dion one, and then, I think there's a Phil Collins one. I don't think those really became real shirts, though. I think they were just mock-ups that a graphic artist made, but that was definitely some talent. I like that. I think there was a Sade one. Ooh, Sade. No, that's another, vocalist I like a lot is Sade. Man, that is some love-making music right there. Absolutely. Alright. Anyways, I think we're probably about to call it a night here. Um Thanks for everyone who tuned in and sat through the stream. I wasn't really that prepared. Next week, I will be more, and I'll have more things to talk about too. Um, yeah, yeah, I just had a busy week. Wasn't able to really get through a whole lot. So, all right, we're going to call it a night. But thanks for watching, and we'll chat later. Have a good night.